Hey, James Clay, BimmerWorld, my co-driver Evan Levine, and we are here at Tire Rack for 2023's running of One Lap of America. This is my third running, and this year we are in the BimmerWorld GTMore car. This is an F82 M4 that we've assembled using M4 technology, or GT4 technology that we've come up with from racing those cars in IMSA and SRO, integrating factory technology, engineering designs, etc., into a road car. So this is a series production car. It's not the race car that it looks like right now. So this is my third time running one lap. I ran it in 2008 was the last time in a 1 series with 3 guys. That was a little bit of a tight deal. And then my first time was back in the early 2000s in an E36 race car, pure race car, no windows, full cage, etc. That was brutal. So this is quite the luxury ride for me this year, for us this year.
Yeah,
so
very luxurious. We are in the luxury sedan class, as you can see from the car.
And this is Evan's first time.
Yeah.
So I've told him how terrible it is to ride across Texas in a race car that's 130 inside. Unfortunately, he's not going to get to experience that. Yeah. Evan is rookie One Lap of America, and this is a unique event with some interesting rules. Evan, what is your understanding of what the rules are and how this week will go?
Well, we're here getting ready now. Today we do a skid pad and a quick autocross before we move into the road courses and drag race later in the week. But my understanding of the rules is basically you get 3 laps. You start from a stop after a quick warm-up. That starting lap does count towards your time. They take the total of all 3 times, so you're not going for just a fast lap. You're going for cumulatively all 3 of those laps. So you have to learn these tracks and car quickly. Every bit of it counts. You really get no practice. If we get here early enough, I think we'll get a quick track walk in places where we need it. The point system is NASCAR-esque, and so you're not punished too terribly if you have a bad session. I believe you get points for each car you beat, both overall and in class. That's 2 separate systems. And so we would like to win in class, but we'd also like to win overall. That's what we're here for. So with 85 cars out here, you can score hundreds of points per run, and if you're down a couple places, you're going to lose 5 or 10. So it's really a fully week-long game. Our goal is to stay in it. We want to stay near the top and feel out the car and feel out the competition, and then see what we've got a couple days in.
And so what I may have sugarcoated a little bit was the transitions, because in between each of those events, of course, we take this car and drive to the next event. So it's not the cannonball run that it used to be where it was just wide open, etc. We're responsible on the road. Of course, we're in things that look very much like race cars. In fact, ours feels very much like a race car, even though it still has the interior, still has radio, still has AC. It's pretty loud from a wrap. It's pretty loud from an exhaust. And
how about cruise control, James?
Cruise control did not make the cut this time, so that'll be fun. We'll be playing with the throttle full time. And some of these commutes, the longest commute this year is about 700 miles. We're looking at about 10, 11, 12 hours to get that done. So it really is an endurance game in this. It's not just running the cars on the racetrack, throwing it in the trailer. There's 3,500 miles of driving on the street in between all the events to make this happen. So it will be a long event. It's an endurance event, and it's a speed event. So we are splitting the tracks. We're splitting the events. We've been to almost all of these tracks between the 2 of us, and looking for a great result this week.
Yeah, a lot of good competition. There's some really cool cars here. We're going to take you around and show you some of those in another video here, but it's going to be really exciting, both to participate in and to watch. Just some really amazing stuff people bring out for this, and a lot of choices all over the spectrum, from fully stock street cars that are going to enjoy the transitions greatly, to people like us who have made a racier choice, and will suffer a bit in between, but have better luck on track, I believe.
So beyond all the other cars, we'll tell you about our car a little bit. So this is the BimmerWorld M4 GTMore. This is an F82 based car, and this, as I mentioned before, takes M4 GT4 technology from the factory, kind of the engineering design and approach to the way they accomplish things on the GT4 cars we've raced for years, and we apply that to a production car. So this is a true American production car, just straight off the line. We're a third owner on this car, so for us it's not straight off the line. but this is representative of what we think our customers do or can do. And beyond integrating just that pure GT4 technology, we've upped the level on that. So a lot of parts of this car are beyond, in some cases well beyond what we do with the GT4 race car. So immediately, besides the wrap, you see huge aero on the car. This is kind of derived from GT4 things, but it's a bigger splitter. It goes under, it has tunnels. We aren't required to keep that flat bottom. It has massive dive planes, huge wings set further back, big downforce. Wheels and tires. So big downforce pressing those wheels and tires into the ground. These are the BimmerWorld TA16 forged wheels wrapped in Continental tires. Now, we are using an Extreme Contact 02. That's a Continental tire. It's about a 340 tread wear. We are allowed down to 200 tread wear, but we chose a tire given the street transits, given the time of the event. We wanted the ultimate rain or wet weather traction. So versus a Continental Extreme Force, we feel like this may be the tire. You know, of course, we're going to see how the weather plays out. It's already cool, very cloudy this morning. Of course, we started on a wet skid pad, so we know what it's going to be. But as we go through the week, we think these Continentals are going to be super sticky. Braking package, this is an Alcon that we put together. Front, rear brakes, huge pads. Not that matters for what we're doing, because of course these miles that we're doing on the street, other than the fact that the pads are dragging a little bit, definitely doesn't matter that much for endurance. But these have a lot of meat. Beyond that, it's a super rigid forged caliper, just huge performance from that. Now, what makes all the suspension, brakes, etc. work, of course, is the suspension. Another thing that's GT4 derived. So the wheels and tires, 18 by 11, front and rear. We currently have a 295 tire. We can fit up to a 315. This is the size we chose for this event. We're gonna just pause while we get our alarm sorted out here. There we go. Suspension is based on motion control dampers. This is the GT4 approach with a pin mount top, and that's what allows us to move the top of the strut in to make room in the wheel well for even the front to fit that massive 11-inch wide wheel, that 315 tire. So big meat under this car, big traction. Under the hood, you get some of the NCS dampers and remote reservoirs. We've done 3 ways. It's just super compliant. And actually, even on these rough roads on the street, where this car, you know, maybe this is a more race focused, or typically you'd see a 3-way damper, 4-way dampers on race cars, pure race cars, but they're fantastic on the street, and the compliance is really good even over harsh roads, these seams, etc. Now, the other thing you see under the hood is the engine. Pretty stock looking, except for that big CNR intercooler. So it's key on this to manage temperature control. So we've got the CNR cooler, we've got cooling components. This thing has 6-7 heat exchangers in the front, CNR, CSF parts. And why are we adding so much cooling? Well, because unlike the GT4 car that runs lower power levels, this thing gets its speed with big power. So we've kept a couple hundred horses in the garage for this event, for now. We'll see. We're able to flash this thing. We'll maybe run more power. We'll see how it goes.
We're going to give it a few days and see what we've got. And if we need to, we might be turning things up a bit.
We'll see what we got. But we're dialed back into a street tune right now. We're about 650, 700 at the wheels. And so we've done that with an engine that can take it. First of all, it's forged rods, Mala pistons, and then big turbos. We've got a pair of pure stage 2s and engine intake, BimmerWorld GTMore exhaust. This is the specific exhaust we built to support the flow of this level of power. And of course, in the transmission, we've done some work there, clutches, flywheel, etc. All this to support that high level of power. Limited slip differential, KMP tripod axles. There's probably a lot of little tricks on this car. In the inside, it's safety gear. So inside the car, see our back pad. That's certainly important for the road transits, but OMP head restraint seats. Maybe a head restraint isn't my preference for a road car, but it certainly works, and it's fantastic to catch a nap. OMP seats, lifeline harnesses, easy to get on and off. Apparently every toll booth will be needing to take these harnesses on and off, so whatever, makes it easy. KMP wheel has all the switches, all the floppy paddles, has the horn button, so we have all the things we need on the street. We have our little cover for it, but Alcantara wheel drops it low in the driver's hands. Great sight line, gives us exactly what we want driving this thing around the country on the racetrack. Maybe not exactly what we want driving around on the street, but we're working with it. Lifeline fire suppression system. Fire suppression is required, but just a handheld extinguisher. But we're not going to get out if the car is burning and fight the fire. We're going to press a button and let the fire system do its job. That's it. There'll be certainly more to the car. I don't even know all the details on this thing, and there's so many with intricate parts, 150, 200 line items. So we'll go through it in further detail. Of course, you can check out the website, check out the GTMore project at BimmerWorld.com. Tons of content on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. We'll be covering this all week. Check us out. This morning, we are at TireRack corporate headquarters. They have tire testing facilities, and this is 8 o'clock in the morning. At about 8:30, the first car will run off. We're hitting the wet skid pad today. So, fantastic skid pad. It's rare to be on a pad like this that has the ability to absolutely keep the water level high and constant through the duration. So this is our opportunity before we start putting wear on these tires to see how the Continental PCS02s work in the wet. We're expecting fantastic things. Of course, as I look around, this is a stiff field of competition, and I've got guys back here with the Corvette that are putting tire warmers on. If you can fit it in the car or fit it in the trailer that you drag with you, it's legal. So we'll see how we do here. Expecting good things all week. This is our first event, so lots going on. We're all settled in. We've got some maybe pre-event jitters. We've got a lot of things that we have to get right, not just for this first wet skid pad. Our transition for the Grissom Air Force Base, where we're doing an autocross later today. Our first 400-mile transit, just a little baby transit, and living life on the road in very close quarters. Evan rode with a bag, all his clothes on his lap this morning. So it's snug. It's going to be a long event.
We're going to be repacking along the way and trying to get better at this each time we do it. Here you can see all the stuff we've got with us. All this does actually fit in the car. Big shout out to Phil Wirtz back at BimmerWorld, who helped engineer how we're going to put all these items in each time and the order in which we take them in and out. We have a tarp to cover them in case it rains. A big part of this event is really just trying to be prepared for anything that it can throw at you. It's very difficult for those of us used to having trailers and trucks and everything that we bring with us every weekend to fit it all in a car that we're going to drive across the country. So it's taking a bit of adjustment for James and I both, but I think we'll get better at it as we go here.
I want to take a minute and talk about our charity partner for the event. So this is our charity partner since 2018 on the racing team, Racing to End Alzheimer's. So fantastic organization. You can see it on the car. That's the purple on the car, and it's the names on the car. So these names are all donors, and we appreciate your donations. And these are representative of donors, and it's the loved ones that they've chosen to put on the car, the people that have been affected by Alzheimer's, the people that they chose to honor, memorialize. And to me, this is such a special thing. Not only the money that we'll pull in from the donations like yours, very much appreciate that. And by the way, you can continue to donate all week, and we will be applying names as we go on this trip. The wrap will stay on the car, recognizing the names, the people, for the duration of the season, and we have several more cool events planned for this car. But it's super meaningful. I've talked to several of the people last night that had names on the car, and I just love being able to not only carry those people along in an event like this with us, but also raise the awareness for Alzheimer's, and of course the check that we're able to write at the end of this event. So this week-long event, we're looking through matching partners. BimmerWorld Logistics Continental is helping with a couple of sets of tires we'll be raffling off. We'll bring in $40,000-$50,000, and 100% of that money goes to fund the cure and the caregivers. We take nothing for the racing effort. This is purely a charity partner and donations for the cause.
We do that just to make sure the tires make it all 8 days. James is starting our first event, the wet skid pad. James, excellent job. Second place overall, first in class after the first event on the wet skid pad. Feeling good about the tire choice?
Yeah, so it seems like we made the right call as the P1 overall rolled up to us in the starting line, also on these Continental ECS 02s. So they said good tire choice. They were right. It's a good tire choice. Man, Connie's in the wet. Nothing beats it. Just amazing. Here we are at Grissom Air Force Base, and this is time for our one and only autocross. Not something I do on a regular basis, but thanks to our partners, Optima Batteries, I've been to several of their events and gotten kind of tuned in to autocross more recently. So we stand a chance. We finished fantastic in the wet skid pad, so we're just going to try to keep the momentum going. Last time I was at an Optima event, it was in a manual transmission car. This thing has the DCT, which is going to be huge in being able to be in the right gear, select gears, be exactly where I need to be in the power band. So fingers crossed, we'll see how it goes.
Stand by, ready, and go!
How do we do?
42.2 right now. We're sitting about 25th.
All right, so, and that's better than last. I would buy second change, something like that.
Yeah, they'll improve by about a second and a half between runs 1 and 2.
All right, so this car is working well. Hard to get the power down, and with these bigger turbos, definitely it's a little harder to spool the boost on this super tight track. Second gear, I think that time I was second and maybe just a tick or third. I'm going to turn some knobs on these MCS dampers and look for a little more rear grip. And transitions are nice and tidy. It's just rear grip to put that huge power down. So we'll see what we can get.
Yeah, we bumped up the tire pressures a little bit between the first and second run. We're not autocrossers. We're getting less rise than we expected, so we may take another shot at that. But it was better this time.
Stand by, ready, and go!
Well, we just finished up the autocross event. We've got about a 5-hour drive over to Nelson Ledges in Ohio. And so what we're doing right now, James is working into the car. We got to raise the ride height of the front for these longer drives. Both, it's going to help us make sure that we don't rip the splitter off on something foolish. It also takes a little bit of tow out of the car. So as I think we've said before, we only get one set of tires for this whole event. We want to really make sure we're minimizing the tire wear on the longer, 500, 600, 700 mile street transfers. There's really no reason to have any tow in it. So we've got some quick settings predetermined, go back and forth in between the actual timed events and the road sections. James, anything to add?
Well, solid autocross event, tons of fun. We made the thing work really well. The Continental tires stuck awesome. It's a matter of getting the pressures right. And again, we just don't have the experience in autocross, but we quickly learned today with few chances, few iterations to test. Made some changes on the MCS dampers. Car got really hooked up. It's a matter of just rolling speed and figuring out this track, because it was a really tight track, and with these bigger turbos, you just have to keep them spooling. So once I sorted that out, solid result. Hopefully this makes for a smooth transit. We'll see.
Yeah, obviously this one's probably more on us than the car, but we're pretty excited to move on to the road courses for the rest of the week. We're at Nelson Ledges tomorrow. I think James is going to take that one, and then I'm probably hitting Road Atlanta for us the day after that. We think this car is going to be well suited to the high-speed road courses, so that'll be a ton of fun.
And to preempt all jokes, I do sometimes work on cars, so I know it's coming. Dirty hands.